Thank you for joining us. Where are you calling us from today, sir? Just so the audience knows.
Hello, Ash, and thank you. It's no problem. It was interesting discussions. I haven't bored. I was always interested.
Good. I'm glad you found value.
Yeah.
Listening to other people do elevator pitches is also a very powerful experience. So just so everyone else knows, Tamir, where are you calling from?
I'm currently in Mongolia at the moment, in Asia.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna. It's been a while since we've had a Mongolian startup here today, but this is going to be a lot of fun. What we're going to do is I'm going up the elevator right now. When I hit the top, I am going to introduce myself. Okay. And we can kick off and get started. All right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Tamir. My name is Ash Singh. I am actually a long descendant of Genghis Khan, and I have a lot of money that I'm looking to invest in right now. So tell me a little bit about what you're working on, sir, how you're changing the world. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's an honor to meet with the Genghis Khan in person. Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm Tamir, and I'm CEO and founder of the OBORTECH.
Yes.
And before starting the pitch, I just wanted to ask a simple question that, do you remember our life before Facebook, right? So when you interact with your friends and people, you get to use to call them or you can send emails to share your lifestyles with them. So this was the major communication, how we interact our lifestyle with our friends, right?
Yes.
So it's basically blocks that our experience and sharing with others and communication, because you can't send every day your pictures to your friend over the email. That means you don't get a lot of information from your friend that's happening all the day. So it creates a gap in your communication with your friend, especially it was overseas, right? So I believe when the Facebook comes in, our interaction with the people is tremendously changed. So you are with your friend, even with us, you are almost sitting together right now, right? If we were friends on Facebook, you can share what are you eating now, what are you feeling now. So I can get a lot of information from you. So it's make the communication very easy. And then even sometimes we don't have to talk to each other and act same way, right? So this is very important to make that change in our lives, how to interact and communicate to each other.
Yes.
So I think in the supply chain industry, we are in an era that before Facebook, we believe. So why is that? Is that there's still a lot of paper-based communication is happening all over the world now. Still, there is a lot of calls to coordinate their shipments and all the products. Of course, there is a big companies like Amazon. They have a very high-tech products, systems, manage the supply chain. But most of the small players all around the world, in India, I don't know, in Asia, in Europe, even in Europe, in the USA, there's still paper-based communication is happening now. Like before Facebook, life is still happening in the supply chain at the moment. So what we see is that there is a big opportunity in the supply chain if we make it more like a Facebook-like environment communication. And I want to tell you that the reason that is not happened today is that most of the solution that is trying to solve this kind of problem is mainly dedicated for certain organizations only. So it's more like, for example, Amazon have a really big ecosystem of really high-tech system, but it mainly work on the Amazon's ecosystem only. So it's really to duplicate it in a, let's say in a small town in India for supply chain. I think it's really not well fit there. So that's the major reason that is not very well fit with the small players, especially. So supply chain is many different type of actors acting each other. It's how its life goes in supply chain. So we believe that there is a really need of simple communication system like a Facebook. We have a really successful use case that we can learn from there, right? So if we implement that kind of system especially in small, medium companies, it will have a tremendous change in the supply chain. The reason also, another reason that we think now is the right time is that we had the really pandemic issue crisis that happened because of the COVID. And then people now are still understanding that the supply chain agility and the smart supply chain is very important when this kind of crisis happens. The second thing is that the blockchain technology, that we see that blockchain technology now bring us that building the decentralized ecosystems. So you build a system like Amazon, bringing in a small town and everywhere in the country, then it
Yeah.
will might likely have a great centralized ecosystem, which really hard to build the trust. So what if that the centralized systems administrators change your information and
Yes.
they do the information and manipulate that. So in
Got it.
that case, you have a decentralized peer-to-peer network that each or other validate themselves, then it will create trust among those all small players. So even also give them, they have a power on the voting. So even the big guys comes in, they still have a power. So we believe the future of supply chain is a decentralized systems based on a blockchain connecting each other. So that's what we see and see the value. And so far, we have our 10 beta testing participants in our project now.
Yeah.
And also we have a really good partners that helping us to introduce our system to large clients. For example, the PwC in Belgium, helping us to communicate with the large manufacturers in Europe, like IKEA and all European big manufacturers, they're reaching us. And also we got Poland Prize just recently. Is a Poland government funded grant program that connecting the startups with Poland market and Poland manufacturers.
Sure.
And we also have a really good network in the mining industry as well. The interesting thing is that the mining industry also have a very many small players like drivers and supply chain suppliers and buyers, etc. So we have a really good partner network and also a professional team to build this system. Currently, we are at the beta stage, and now we are looking for 500,000 USD with the post-money valuation of 10 million USD. Yeah, and it will reach us to the initial tractions that build the actual. We already almost built our product, finishing by the end of this year. So probably with this fund, we will have 6 months of runaway, and we hope that after that we will have a revenue generated and get us to the next level of fundraising.
Got it. Understood. Thank you, Tamir, for your pitch. Tamir, tell me a little bit about, as you were pitching again, what we aim to do is give feedback based on what an investor is thinking. And we also try to just give feedback based on what the audience and so on and so forth is. So I want to come back to, supply chain is a problem. It's been a problem for a very, very long time. When I think about Facebook, though, because that's the example that you used, Facebook does a lot of different things now, right? It's such a big, complex machine, right? I think the idea that, so I kind of wanted to understand a little bit more about the software that you're creating, right? And how it actually improves the process, right? Because Facebook, it's got photos, it's got updates, it's got news, it's got user-generated content. I kind of wanted to understand what the software that you've made actually does, the secret sauce, because what was unclear, and again, it's always about when you start off, it's about, okay, I want to attack and improve this process. This is the software I've created, and these are the 3 to 5 features. And then I have 10 beta users and they love it. That's what I wanted to know. So tell me a little bit about the feature set, right? Because I understand blockchain and transparency, and investors have heard a lot about that right now, but I kind of want to see how it works in action, right? And for me, it's about the features that you have in your software, how your beta testers are using it, and how it's improving outcomes in supply chain, right? How, average processing time per customer is down 50%. That's what I want to know, right? So tell me more about that, Tamir. Go ahead.
So the major inspiration we got from the Facebook is so simple and so fun to interact. That's the major inspiration we got it from the Facebook. So we want to build same kind of system and supply chain. Keep it simple, not too deep into everything in the system of the companies. We're just grabbing only the key information they need to interact with others in the ecosystem. The second part is that Facebook is all about our people's lifestyle. So it's all around the human and all of the person's lifestyles around them. But in supply chain, it's all about the product. So all the lifestyle and all events, all the pictures, all those posting and comments comes around the product. So it's supply chain is product and Facebook is human. But in our case, in our system, it's more about all about the product. But so in revolving around the product, people interacting with those products will post, comment, add documents on that. So that's same structure, but their goal is a bit different. And in terms of what they're loving is that the usability is so simple for them. And also the major problem most of our beta testers is facing is that they think that how to track the product by its date and by its owner, by its actors. It's for example, if you have a very sensitive product, have a very short expiry date, and you deliver it to some merchant, let's say you have thousands of merchants in your ecosystem, you have to deliver all your product every day, and then you have an expiry date of product, and then when you lost in that, and when your product is expiry date is finishing, and maybe you have to call back them, or maybe they want to call back to you, and there a lot of dispute arise in reality. So they said, okay, I haven't got it this day, it's your fault, deliver it to me at this date, I want to pay, don't want to pay. So this kind of dispute always happen in this ecosystem. So it's all about, but what they communicating each other is paper-based. So it's really difficult to track or call back unless you have a same platform, everybody joined, and a same single source of information to interact with.
Is your dispute and dispute resolution open? Is it transparent? Can other people see that?
That's the reason.
That's something unique, right?
Yeah, that's the reason we are building on decentralized blockchain networks. So it's all about peer-to-peer interaction. There is no centralized authority who can manipulate the data or who can decide whom to connect in this network. So all it's based on their members themselves will govern the network. They will decide whom they invite in the network, and they will the key authorities to who is the right or who is the good in this.
Tamir, how much experience do you have in supply chain? Tell me a little bit about your background.
Me and myself, I have more experience in the user experience and user interfaces, more on the experience in design, etc. So I've always been passionate about how to make things simple, especially for the communication things of things. I previously worked on the Knowledge Hub project as well. So it's more about the how to manage the communication of different actors in the mining industry. So it's all about the communication. So that knowledge helped me put it in here. My co-founder have 20 years of experience in logistics and supply chain sector. So it's more like combining my design and simplicity experience with his industry experience and domain experience.
When we think about if you're successful, how is this going to impact the supply chain industry, the companies that are using your platform? How is it going to improve their process in terms of ease of use? That's one thing, because the UI is there. Assume it's easy to use, but it also comes down to outcomes, right? People want to make sure that in supply chain management, you want to make sure that the chain of supply is cheapest, quickest, safest. Tell me about the improvement that you're going to make on the supply chain industry.
So supply chain and logistics, most important thing is all about information, the right information, the correct information on time. And as a result of that, it will increase the speed. So speed is all about supply chain competition. If you are faster, then you are on top of the market. So to make you faster, you need to have a correct and right information on time. So our platform is same as the Facebook case I explained. We can give you the correct, right information, very easy, on time, exactly as Facebook. When someone posts on the newsfeed, you will see it right away. Same as in our platform, is the product delivered in some other places, you will know it right away by the owner who actually get it. And most importantly, this product is very accurate because it's instituted by not a centralized system. It's instituted by the owner itself, the actor itself, the system. So it will create a lot of efficiency, like increasing your speed, reducing the disputes amongst the different parties that take a lot of time for the shipments and supply chain. Also, it will increase the price of the product, creates value, because if your product is much more transparent and origin, all the delivery process is clear to the customer, then the customer is likely to pay more. Basically, this is based on the PwC research.
And how do you track though? Like, because people can lie, humans can lie. Do you have a tracking mechanism? I know like during COVID, especially right now, because supply chain for luggage is really bad. So everyone has these Apple tags to track information. How do you make sure everyone is, because you get real-time updates, but is there a way that you're building your system to be able to track real time what's actually happening with what's going on? Tell me a little bit about that.
So, the blockchain technology is not a insurance of the truth, right? So if you insert the false information in the blockchain, it will stay there as a false.
Yes.
The major thing we are implementing is that we make all the actors identical to each other. So there will be no anonymous actor in our network. So meaning that every actor join our system will have an identity verification in our system and will be approved by the peers in the network. Meaning that if you lie one time, and you can do that, but your trace will be left in the platform, in the blockchain, and you can't erase it later on. So meaning that when you try to lie second time, people will no longer trust you anymore, because your identity is clear in the system. And then in the long run, you will think about your reputation in the network and you will not lie, right? So it's all about inserting proper information.
And Tamir, how many people lie in supply chain? Just for those of us that don't know, how many people lie? What's
I think, I think, there is a large number there,
right.
a large number. And, because there's such no systems, everybody is responsible. So if they can lie and cheat their customers, sometimes they do. But there's no system review those things, right?
No, I understand. Tell me about so you're looking to raise $500,000 US, correct? Right. Do you think that instead of Facebook, do you think Twitter is actually a better example than Facebook? Because with what you're trying to do, I just feel Twitter would be a better, when you're pitching an investor, just the real-time updates, the feedback loop, the simplicity. What do you think?
I would say the major closeness of the Facebook is that Facebook adds rich information, like picture. You can share that, you can comment and accept it, send myself.
Okay. I just curious because, when you think about real-time information, I thought maybe Twitter might be a better example, but let's try that. Would you like me to pitch this idea back to you, Tamir? Okay. Now you get to introduce yourself, right? What we're going to do is we're going to let's try and build this out. And I think I know kind of the positioning around this, because I think we got to that at the tail end of our conversation. But you can introduce yourself and I will pitch the OBORTECH platform. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Tamir and from Mongolia. I have a bunch of money to invest. So
all right.
Why I should interest in OBORTECH?
All right. Well, Tamir, if you're familiar with supply chain, right? The world of supply chain has not really evolved over the last 10, 20 years the way a lot of other industries have. We also recognize during the pandemic, there were a lot of people that were cheating the system. Cost of a container was going through the roof. Lack of transparency, lack of honesty, all of this stuff led to probably one of the biggest reasons why we have this global inflation problem. And so as one of the founders of OBORTECH, our view is that we can change this. But the way to change it is actually not for supply chain companies to build the next software. We thought that if we could build a social network of trust. Okay. In the supply chain industry, we can actually reinvent the ecosystem. And so the idea is that we create a platform that looks like a social network like Facebook, something that people are familiar with. And what happens is everyone can post information and be authenticated on our blockchain. But most importantly, we drive the element of trust in terms of pricing, transparency, as well as trust within making sure that when something's at a certain place, it's delivered, right? And leveraging those elements and recreating the elements that we're trying to do. We have 10 beta testers that are already using the platform. We are seeing huge changes in terms of lowering the cost of deliveries, lowering the time, and also removing 50% of the paperwork and the headache associated with this. We've started off and we are looking for $500,000 to take this to the next level, but we feel that our approach and our beta testers are going to allow us to reinvent how supply chain is going to work. Thank you.
Wow, that's cool.
Is that, Tamir, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's very clear to the point.
Right?
Very structured, I think.
You're creating a revolution, Tamir, okay? You're creating that revolution. There are some bad actors. All you're doing is you're creating a new system to remove the bad actors, and eventually, right, you know, good prevails, right? You know, light prevails. But what's been happening now is that there's been too much money to be made from bad actors, right? You know, and I think just getting these processes in place, but positioning it right and showing that all these things coming together are going to create that community of purpose that's going to, you know, improve delivery times, lower costs, and, you know, remove the paperwork element, because, you know, the whole supply chain process is very difficult too, right? And I think that's what you're trying to do overall. So hopefully you found value in the pitch, okay? And I want to thank you for your time. I know we went a little bit long today, but it's always a delight to listen in and try and dig a little bit deeper and help everyone evolve their pitches. And Tamir, I want to thank you again joining us from Mongolia.